1960, the making of the president. American presidential campaigns have always been fierce battlegrounds, Democrats and Republicans reaching out to the hearts and minds of an entire people, as if they were trying to remove a greased golden apple from a drainpipe.
And what we have here is a simulation of one of the most famous elections in American history, Kennedy, Nixon, 1960. And with all the tension and the tough decision making of a war game, but without the war.
But what makes it so tense?
Yes, and what do you get inside this box? Well, you get a board, a huge deck of event cards, a horrifying deluge of wooden cubes. Hang on, I think America goes the other way. Lovely seals for each state. A bag in which an ordinary sized reference pair could fit. And some other stuff. So the stage is set. All that's left to be decided is which of you will be the coy and cunning Nixon and which of you will be the lustrous and lady-loving Kennedy.
You don't need to know much about politics. All that you need to know is that Nixon looks at America upside down.
Satire.
No, Whereas Kennedy will embarrass themselves by repeatedly trying to pick up this pencil. So how do you actually win a presidential election? Well, it's all about playing your cards right. Literally. Each turn, you'll be dealt 6 cards. Cards that can be played for their campaign points, or for the event depicted on the card. Campaign points represent you campaigning. You use them to shuttle your token around, chipping away at your opponent's power bases, building up your own, investing in regional advertising, or telling people how you care about the issues. Because in a horrible parallel of real life, it doesn't care what you stand for so much as whether you appear to be stronger than the other guy on the issues of the economy, defence and civil rights.
I stand before you today, the American people, to say I really like civil rights, but I have a question. Are they civil enough? Are they right? Was that one question or two? And my answer is no. Yes, there were 2 questions, but no, they are not civil enough. But are they right? Yes, the questions are right. The number of, but are they civil? The questions are civil. Are they right?
Oh, So these 3 spaces are just 3 more areas for you to fight over. They won't vote for you come election day, but they will provide you with all-powerful endorsement and political momentum tokens. We already have the makings of an engaging problem here, both because you never have the cubes to do everything you want to do, and also because your opponent will be relentlessly shuttling your cubes off the board in a cross between a tug of war and a square dance. But a few simple twists turn it into a game.
1 is that if you control a state with more than 4 cubes, you're considered to have that state in lockdown, which makes it much harder for your opponent to chip away at your voter base. This can be a valid strategy, moving from state to state, locking one down after the other. And let's say I did this to you. I control the East Coast with all its thick, dense blocks of voters.
That makes them sound stupid.
I've also put Kennedy in New York to dissuade him from campaigning further.
Right, but while he was doing that, I sent Nixon to Indiana, to Kentucky, to Tennessee, Alabama, to Louisiana, Arkansas, to Texas, Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, California, Kansas, Washington. I started a ton of fires for him to put out because come election day, it doesn't matter whether one of these states has 1 cube in or 7. It's only going to go red or blue.
That's right. But all of this cube business is just a thrumming bass line driving a larger, grander, broader piece of music. For these events cards, these things you've been playing for their command points, no, you play them for the big league, for the major political events. An elephant or donkey at the bottom will show you if this benefits your party. Perhaps Nixon is egged, or an organisation of Catholic ministers throws their support behind Kennedy. And all of these events are based on real events, making 1960 an educational game in the best possible way, without it being patronising or pedantic. Of course, sometimes you'll get a hand of cards with events that mostly benefit your opponent, and this is where the game gets some fangs. Both you and your opponent will have pocketfuls of political momentum tokens, and you can play one of these tokens to trigger the event on a card that an opponent has played for its campaign cubes. Now, there is a way to protect yourself from this. Just play 2 of these political momentum tokens, and you protect yourself from this intervention. It's safe, but it's expensive. Quins.
Paul, if this board is the base, then these cards are the treble. You're looking at the hand of horrible nuclear events that you've been lucky enough to be dealt, and you're just trying to get them out there without giving your opponent the chance to play them. You're trying to figure out whether he's holding events for you. And there's no playing this game safe either, because you discard half of your political momentum tokens at the end of every turn.
Quins.
Paul.
Quins.
Paul.
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 What we have here is a board game with a card game, with campaigning, with advertising, with endorsements, with momentum tokens, with many, many events. And yet, how does all of this cohere? How does this come together into what board gamers like to call fun?
Well,
Quins.
Paul, pins. The principle that powers 1960 is something I like to call shit. Okay.
I would have called it something nicer.
Paul.
Quins. All of these disparate events have one thing in common. They're all interlinked. Whether you are campaigning or whether you are playing event cards, everything affects the board and the board affects events.
The board gives you tokens. Tokens are spent on cards.
Many war games feature turns where players are paralysed or manoeuvring or unable to react, but this game has a real sense of momentum, and you must master that momentum to keep your campaign surging forward, otherwise you and your campaign shall fail.
If the game here is the puzzle we described before, the fun is the fact that that puzzle shifts under your touch, as if you and your opponent were puzzling over the same Rubik's Cube. Paul.
Quins, thanks. Perhaps another way of describing it would be a puzzle that invents itself anew every turn, with every play of the card once again dazzling the right side of your brain.
Exactly. The game is flexible enough that it surprises you every single turn. Let's say you're playing Nixon. Your opponent plays Nixon's Pledge, reminding you of your promise to visit all 50 states. Shit, you say. Now you have to start spending cards for their campaign cubes. But you do so and you hit Kennedy where it hurts, whipping away his support from civil rights. Okay, you say. Only for Kennedy to play Nixon's knee. Shit, you say. Now, every time you play a card for its campaign points, you're going to give momentum to Kennedy. Quins, thanks. Suddenly, you're fascinated. Your hand of cards, your momentum tokens, none of it means the same thing that it did when this turn started. You hate the other player, you're involved, all of which is fun.
And like many real elections, the game is tense until its final moments. The design of 1960 lends itself away from crushing victories and towards sudden, dramatic fightbacks. There are 52 American states in play right until the final moments of the game, many of them swapping allegiances suddenly, dramatically. It's a tense game, it's a fair game, and instead of any die rolls, there are what's known as support checks.
Oh, this is really good.
Initiative, or campaigning in carried states, is decided by reaching into this bag. If you manage to draw a token of your colour, a blue or red cube that represents you, you've succeeded. But only certain actions will replenish your supply of cubes in the bag. There's only a limited supply in there. Each player will have their fair share of luck.
Why does apple juice taste so good?
So, a lovely game, a luxurious game, a game precisely assembled, elegant, excellently put together, like luxury, like a luxury car.
It is not luxurious. Look at it.
Like a Volvo, firm and robust and vigorous and strong and full of body
And fast.
yeah,
Like an espresso.
yes. And so, do we recommend that people buy it?
Well, maybe not.
You're supposed to come with me on a yes.
Look, it's a lovely piece of design. It's totally fair. It's elegantly put together.
Yes. Right. Wait. What? I don't.
I have to go with my heart on this one, dude. Okay? Because with two-player games we recommend, like Memoir 44, like A Few Acres of Snow, like even fruity old Stronghold.
You're a fruity old stronghold.
Those games leave me with a fizzing desire to play them again, you know?
Okay.
I'm looking forward to when I take this down from the shelf again in a year's time when it's a novelty again. But I don't have that desire to play it again.
I don't understand. It's got this fantastic Eurogame dynamic fairness thing going on. It's got all these different systems and they fit together really well. And it's so fair and it's almost kind. If you're on the back foot, if you're losing, it doesn't punish you. It rewards you fighting back. That's brilliant.
I totally agree. But
Right,
at the
so-
same time, it's just a bit desiccated.
You're mad.
I
don't
play
understand.
board games for a roller coaster of emotions. I play them to make me feel big or small or smart or stupid. This, it just trundles along. And it gripped my attention like a vice. But it didn't give me any really happy memories to cling onto, you know?
Yeah, all right, fine.
I'm just not comfortable telling people to buy it
Well,
with
I
money.
am, and for all the reasons that I said, and I think you should buy it. And yeah,
Well, I think we shouldn't tell them to spend that money because they might want to spend it on prostitutes
or Volvos,
or espressos.
or yeah, buy some. You're mad. No, just. I'm gonna go and join. I'm gonna join tabletop. I'm joining tabletop. I
Alright.
joined.
I won't have you.
They will. They'll. Beard. Any beard gets you in. The guys.
You have to have been in Star Trek.
I was in Star Trek Voyager.
That doesn't
actually.
count. Who are you in Star Trek Voyager?
You know what? I was